Mr. Alejo? Mr. Alejo, you have one bill on consent and one due pass recommendation.
Right. AB 1531 by the STM committees on consent, and I'll only be presented on AB 2.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. AB 2 will allow certain blighted areas of California to create a new entity called the Community Revitalization Investment
Move the bill.
or CREA, which will work to tackle issues facing our state's most disadvantaged communities. In 2011, the state dissolved its redevelopment agencies, driven primarily by the cost of redevelopment to the state's general fund, but the needs of struggling communities did not go away. AB 2 will work to change this by investing property tax increments of consenting local agencies other than schools to improve our local communities. This will grow jobs, reduce crime, repair deteriorating and inadequate infrastructure, clean up brownfield sites, and promote affordable housing. The bill requires 25% of the funds to be set aside for affordable housing and will help rebuild impoverished communities across the state. This will be a great tool for communities across the state and certainly in my district as well. I have worked tirelessly on this concept for the last 3 years, and although the governor did not sign AB 2280 last year, I'm optimistic he will sign AB 2 this year given the technical changes we have made in the bill. The only costs associated with the bill are minor and come from the state's controller's office and administering oversight. I respectfully ask for an aye vote and have some witnesses to speak in support of the bill.
Thank you so much. Witnesses in support?
Mr. Chairman, members, Dan Carrig on behalf of the League of California Cities. Appreciate the author's work on this for the last couple of years. We think we do hopefully have a path to the governor's office, and we'd appreciate your support for this bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, committee member Silvio Ferrari with the California Building Industry Association. Also like to applaud the author's efforts for 3 years of going after this. And, this is a critical tool for disadvantaged communities to be able to invest in themselves, really open the door to say, hey, we're open for business. So strongly urge an aye vote.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, members, Jeremy Merz, I'm at the California Chamber of Commerce. We are also in strong support of the bill and appreciate all the efforts over the last couple of years on this legislation.
Thank you so much. Individuals from the public in support?
Greg DeGier, representing the ARC and United Cerebral Palsy California Collaboration, a coalition of people with developmental disabilities and their families, friends, and service providers. We support the bill. The developmental disability community, we think, has maybe the highest need for affordable housing of any community in the state. The situation is really terrible. We applaud the author's doggedness in this and ask for an aye vote.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals in support?
Erica Arriaga on behalf of the League of California Cities Latino Caucus. We're in support.
Thank you so much. Witnesses in opposition?
Mr. Chairman, members, a little out of breath. Bob Naylor, representing Fieldstead and Company. We've been opposed to AB2 because it reinstates an agency with eminent domain power to take private property not only for public infrastructure, but to give it to other private interests. I know that's a policy consideration, so I'll take the fiscal angle here. If you walk 3 blocks from here, there are vacant buildings that have been vacant for 20 years that were taken by redevelopment agencies because those agencies have not been very good at predicting what developers will want to buy the property or predicting recessions where the interest dries up. That reduces property taxes. That reduces income to the state by way of property taxes not available to schools. The other thing, I would just say fiscally, is that this bill authorizes unelected bodies to sell bonds against future property tax revenues with no vote of the people. Now, that creates pressure on the legislature because when pension obligations have to compete with already committed property tax obligations, it's pressure for this body to have to provide some kind of a solution. So for all of those reasons, and especially the property rights issue, we urge a no vote.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals in opposition? Department of Finance?
We note that this bill is very similar to AB 2280 from the previous session, which was vetoed by the governor. This particular bill we see has no Prop 98 general fund impact, and we agree with Mr. Alejo's comment on the SCO's cost of $50,000 to about $100,000 one-time cost and about $100,000 ongoing.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Ms. Eggman.
Thank you, and I'd just like to thank both the authors, bringing this forward. I know in a long dialogues with my local community and community leaders and affordable housing advocates, builders, as well as we continue to address the blight in the city of Stockton. This kind of thing is imperative in order to move forward. So I thank you for giving wings to my Phoenix City as it rises.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gallagher.
In addressing some of the concerns that were brought up, have you considered at all when they establish, under your bill, when they establish a community revitalization authority, having a vote of the people so that they're actually affirmatively approving this new agency that would have bonding power and eminent domain power, rather than the local jurisdiction just imposing it, rather having a vote? Is that something that you've looked at?
We've worked on this, as I mentioned earlier, for 3 years, so we've got a lot of input from the governor's office, from a lot of stakeholders, and this measure has the most accountability measures structured within the language of the bill than any other form of redevelopment or economic development tool. In order to establish this, there has to be several hearings, getting input from the community that it will be serving on what the goals are. Every year there has to be a progress report about how that the new entity is meeting the needs of the community. And the most powerful tool is that if they're not meeting the needs, the community has the power to halt future economic development through a referendum if they're not meeting the goals of the community. So if there's an agency that is abusing eminent domain or not following the goals of the community, there's accountability because they could be shut down by a vote of the people. And originally the bill would do it after a certain amount of time. We've now moved that from not doing it after 10 years. It's up front from the very beginning. If they're not meeting the needs of the community, they're subject to that referendum by the community.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, Mr. Alejo, I like the opposition's attempt to have a concern about development projects maybe 5 years from now during an economic downturn and how that's going to impact the general fund, but we don't look at fiscal analysis that way. We look at a direct impact on the general fund as it stands today and in the future years, but not maybe if and sort of kind of analysis. It's really what kind of impact it's going to have at this moment. So your bill does have a minor cost. We're gonna it has a due pass recommendation with a motion from Quirk, a second by Eggman, and this bill is out on a B roll call with Gallagher not voting, Chang and I. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it, members.
Ms. Brown? Ms. Brown has two bills on suspense, and then she is presenting AB 643 with a due pass recommendation for Nazarian.
Yes. With the chair's permission, I'd like to present 299 and waive the presentation for 1526. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. AB 299 is a bill that seeks to prevent unnecessary loss of life through drowning.
Move the bill. Second. That is a suspense candidate. Well, it's actually on suspense, so you can't move the bill because it's out of order. Thank you.
We are shooting in the dark with our prevention efforts. We need data. We need the data to accurately target high-risk areas so that we can prevent drownings. This is modeled after a successful program in San Bernardino and Riverside counties, and they have experienced minor costs. We are working with opposition to address any concerns if you'll move this bill forward, and I ask for your consideration as this bill moves to the suspense file.
Thank you so much. Do you have witnesses in support of this bill? Individuals from the public in support. Witnesses in opposition. Individuals from the public in opposition. Department of Finance. Okay. Good.
Hi, Mira Morton here on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce. We submitted a late letter, and really we're working with the author's office to just have a clarifying amendment that we're seeking. So we look forward to working with her going forward. Thank you.
A late letter in opposition or?
Oppose unless amended, sorry.
Thank you so much.
Hi, it's John Robinson with the California Attractions and Parks Association, representing the state's theme amusement and water parks. We applaud the intent and the efforts of the bill. However, we would like to make sure that the onus and the responsibility is on public safety agencies, the ones who can best acquire the information that would be required, because in some cases we don't have access to it and, quite frankly, can't legally inquire as to all the information. So we want to make sure the responsibility is where it should be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Department of Finance? No question or comments from the committee members on AB 299? Seeing none, Ms. Brown, would you like to close on this bill?
I'd ask for your consideration as this bill moves to the suspense file.
Thank you so much. We'll give it due consideration, of course. Next is you're presenting on behalf of Mr. Nazarian, correct?
Yes.
And that's AB 643, which enjoys a due pass recommendation.
Well,
second.
I ask for your aye vote.
We have a motion and a second. Is there witnesses in support?
Good morning. I'm Susan DeMorris on behalf of the Alzheimer's Association. We support this bill. Today, about 350,000 Californians have wandered with Alzheimer's or are at risk of wandering. This bill is a practical solution by only addressing the situation with vehicles. Thank you for your aye vote.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, John Moffitt on behalf of Marin and San Diego counties in support.
Thank you so much. Witnesses in opposition, individuals from the public in opposition, Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
No file. Question or comments from the committee members? We have a motion and a second. It's a due pass recommendation. This bill is out on an A roll call. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Gatto. Mr. Gatto, you have one bill on suspense, one on consent, and one due pass recommendation. How would you like to proceed?
I am waiving all the suspense, Mr. Chairman. I know that feeling well. I'm presenting Assembly Bill 605, which is a consumer protection measure. My understanding is it was pulled off consent by the gentleman from Orange County who misses the sound of my voice. And he's reading his phone and didn't even hear that joke. But anyway, this bill would just clarify that a charge paid by consumers for electronically filing title and registration documents.
Second.
I ask for your aye vote.
We have a motion and a second. Witnesses in support.
Mr. Chairman, members, Mark Weideman on behalf of Motor Vehicle Software Corporation. MVSC is a company that operates in this space. We think this is a very smart bill. It clarifies that consumers are only going to be charged for electronic vehicle registration costs, nothing more. And that's consistent with current law in AB 1215 by Assemblymember Blumenfield from 2 years ago.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair and members, John Doherty on behalf of TechNet. We're pleased to support AB 605. We think in a time where not all technology projects and private-public partnerships are working well, this is a great example of how we can protect consumers, save the state money, and provide a great service. The bill simply keeps the integrity of the system intact and keeps it simple and direct, and therefore we support and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. John Moffitt on behalf of Computerized Vehicle Registration and Dealer Track. There are three main companies in the state who are involved in this first-line service provider business. We represent two of them. The other one is DMV Desk. When we look at the bill, what we see is a situation where we are out in the marketplace innovating, working with dealers, dealership groups. Surprise, surprise, dealers want technology companies that can provide a slew of services beyond those regulated by the DMV and beyond those regulated, by the DMV price regulation for registration services. We're out there, as the committee analysis notes, we're out there providing those host of services. It's a benefit to the dealer and consumers because they can get many services under one agreement with one company providing a bunch of different things. Within those services, some of those are price capped by the DMV. Many of those are not regulated by the DMV at all. We read the bill to give the DMV new responsibility and regulatory oversight over those products which they currently do not regulate, and that's where we think the costs come in. In addition to setting that fee cap in regulation, DMV also takes a fee for itself. Right now it's set at $4. All of that money for each transaction goes into the motor vehicle account. The LAO notes that the motor vehicle account is insolvent in this fiscal year. So at the same time that the fund is going broke, we're giving DMV new responsibility to analyze the hundreds, if not thousands, of individual contracts between dealers and first-line service providers throughout the state. That we think the natural result of that is that DMV, via regulation, not here in the legislature, takes that $4, ups it to $5. The statute says they can only increase in increments of whole dollars. So $4, you add that dollar, 1.8 million new vehicles were sold in the state of California last year. That's an additional $1.8 million coming out of consumers' pockets into DMV to meet the requirements of this bill to regulate products upon which they have no authority to regulate at this point. That's why we're opposed to the bill. Those are the fiscal grounds why we're opposed. We don't think it has a negligible fiscal impact. We think it's bigger than that. We think it's worth sending the bill to suspense to explore that further over the next several weeks.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
Question or comments from the committee members? Mr. Wagner.
I did pull it from suspense, and I was paying attention. It's called multitasking. Let me thank you for bringing the bill forward. There was some late opposition, and in fact, coming up out of my district, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to have the hearing and have any questions asked of them, which is why I pulled it from consent. Though, just for the record, I have no questions and appreciate both sides getting a hearing on this one.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gatto, would you like to close?
Just briefly, I was here in 2012 when we passed Mr. Blumenfield's bill. The intent and the promise of that bill was that we would never pass on to consumers anything but the costs for registration and some of the things that are meant to be contained within this fee. And what this bill does is very simple, is it gets at the bundling charges. These are when people, certain companies are putting in these fees, putting them on the backs of consumers, and that they don't have anything to do with the needs of electronic filing. This is a very pro-consumer measure, reduces fees that consumers are paying, and I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gatto. This bill is a due pass. We have a motion and a second. It's out on a roll call. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Garcia? Mr. Garcia, you have one bill on suspense and one due pass recommendation. How would you like to proceed?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. We're going to waive presentation on AB 866 and go right into AB 1270, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. AB 1270 comprehensively updates California's primary workforce development program to reflect new requirements of the federal government Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act of 2014.
Move the bill.
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Need a second?
Second.
Have a second.
We do have two witnesses here. Amy Wilson, Assistant Secretary Policy for the Labor Agency, and also Daniel Rounds, Deputy Director for California Workforce Investment Board.
Great. Witnesses in support, please.
AB 1270 is one of two bills sponsored by the Labor Agency.
and supported by the Workforce Board to update the State Workforce Act to reflect changes in federal law. This bill makes non-controversial and technical changes to state law while retaining statewide policy initiatives that the legislature has passed in recent years. We thank Assemblymember Garcia for partnering with us in this effort, and we ask for your support on the bill.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support? Any other individuals
Mr.
from the
Chairman?
public in support?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Nicole Rice, California Manufacturers and Technology Association. We're also here in support.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, member Cesar Diaz on behalf of the State Building and Construction Trades Council, also in support.
Thank you.
Mira Morton here on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce, also in support.
Thank you. Witnesses in opposition. Individuals from the public in opposition. Department of Finance.
The Department of Finance supports this bill, and we note that it will facilitate the implementation of federal law.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, Mr. Garcia, would you like to close?
Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Do pass recommendation. It's out on an A roll call. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I've been asked to pinch hit on behalf of our Chair of Labor and Employment Committee on two bills.
Correct. He has 2 on due pass, 2 suspense, and 2 consent. How would you like to proceed?
I'll start with AB 338, due pass recommendation. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present on behalf of Assemblymember Hernandez. AB 338 allows Los Angeles Metro to impose by ordinance a countywide 1/2 cent sales tax for transportation purposes is approved if approved by 2/3 of the vote. The bill includes safeguards and transparency language to ensure an equitable investment and resources within the Los Angeles County. Here with me is Mr. Barry Broad, representing the transit union this morning.
Thank you so much.
This isn't Mr. Barry Broad, though. I apologize.
No, this is the version with hair. Mr. Chairman, Shane Gussman on behalf of the Amalgamated Transit Union, also the Teamsters, in support of the bill. This bill and the funding that this bill would provide is sorely needed to keep transportation moving down in the Los Angeles area. We'd also like to note that it sets out a formula that we think is reasonable so that bus operations and train operations can continue once you build these projects. Urge your aye vote. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file on this.
No file. Questions or comments from the committee members? If not, I need a motion and a second. Did we? Oh, you did? Okay. Okay, Quirk would. Perfect. The bill. We have a motion and a second. This bill is out on a B roll call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next bill.
AB 1059. AB 1059 will strengthen California's critical employment retaliation provisions. Recent cases and examples highlight several major gaps existing in California statutes that prohibit retaliation against employees for engaging in protected activity. AB 1059 will close those gaps. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Witnesses in support?
Mr. Chair and members, Caitlin Vega for the California Labor Federation. We are the sponsors of this bill. This bill is intended to close a loophole in the law of retaliation. Currently, employers can be held responsible for workplace for where there is a lack of worker health and safety. They can also be held responsible for wage theft and failure to provide workers' comp. These are employers who are using a third-party labor contractor to supply workers, but under existing law, they are responsible for those kinds of violations. However, they are not responsible if they retaliate against workers for reporting those violations. We think that's a very important loophole to close, especially as this economy increasingly relies on a subcontracted workforce. This bill has minor costs, and they're all from the special fund, so we think it's an important policy, and we urge your support.
Thank you so much. Next,
Mr.
witness.
Chairman, members of the committee, Shane Gussman on behalf of the Teamsters, the Amalgamated Transit Union, the Machinists, IFPTE Locals 20 and 21, and the ILWU, all in support.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
No file. Question or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. This bill is out on a B roll call. Thank you so much, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you. on behalf of Chairman Hernandez.
Thank you so much. Ms. Gaines. You have one bill before us with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
AB 1024 modernizes current law by amending the requirements to become an operator of an online driver's education program. AB 1024 eliminates a 2,000-hour behind-the-wheel teaching experience requirement only to driver's education programs that are solely operated online and offer no behind-the-wheel instruction. However, AB 1024 still requires operators to take a class and pass a test on safe driving, traffic laws, and vehicle code requirements. There's no opposition to the bill, and I would respectfully request an aye vote. With me here today is Mike Belote to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much. Witnesses support.
Mr. Chair and members, Mike Belote on behalf of the Distance Learning Center. The bill still requires a class, a test. It is all it does is take out an behind-the-wheel requirement for pure online driver's education, where there's no behind-the-wheel instruction. We would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance.
We are neutral, but no concerns on this. We note the concern that the bill would create different certification standards for driving school operators.
Thank you so much. Question or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, thank you so much. You have swayed me since the Transportation Committee. This bill, we have a motion and a second. This bill is out on a roll call. Thank you so much.
So happy to have your support. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Ting. Mr. Ting, you have two bills before us, AB 746 and AB 1073. Both enjoy a due pass recommendation.
Okay. I can start with AB 746. AB 746 just renews and extends the sunset for the San Francisco Bay Restoration Authority, whose sole goal is to raise funds to restore the San Francisco Bay.
Move the bill.
It also eliminates the limitation on the bonding authority and gives it enough time to pay back those bonds. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much. Witnesses in support.
Mr. Chairman, members, Mark Smith on behalf of Ducks Unlimited, one of the NGO partners, in strong support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any individual from public in support? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Mark Fenstermaker on behalf of Audubon, California, in support.
Thank you so much. Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance? No file. Question or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, Mr. Ting, would you like to close?
I just respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you so much. We have a motion and a second. Enjoys due pass recommendation. Bill's out on a B roll call.
Thank you. Next is AB 1073. AB 1073 allows the Board of Pharmacy to work with pharmacies around the state to provide translations
Move the bill.
for anyone who would like them. So what we do is the Board of Pharmacy can translate into 5 different major languages. I have 2 witnesses here, but respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Board of Pharmacy. The translations are currently available and have been since 2012 on our website. The board's happy to work with anybody that brings forward issues, but we respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Kimberly Chen with the California Pan-Ethnic Health Network, CPEN, and as the board just noted, the work to do the translations has already been done and is already available. So this bill ensures that pharmacists that don't have the capacity to do translations can use these, helping to reduce medical errors and help limited English proficient patients better understand their prescription information. We support this bill and urge aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support?
Mr. Chair and members, White Seam on behalf of Health Access California in support.
Thank you so much. Any witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition. Department of Finance. No file. Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Mr. Gallagher.
I don't.
I won't laugh about that. Okay. Thank you so much for bringing this bill forward. We have a motion from Ms. Chang, a second by Mr. Quirk. This bill is out on an A roll call with Mr. Gallagher not voting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Olson, you're up. She has one bill, right?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. And
Ms.
members.
Olson, you have one bill on suspense and one enjoys a due pass recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Move the bill.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to
I'm
present.
assuming that's AB 604,
That
correct?
is AB 604. I'm waiving presentation on 1161.
Okay, thank you so much.
So it's my pleasure to present AB 604, which will modernize our antiquated law regarding motorized skateboards. Several of you heard this previously in Transportation Committee. Currently, electrically motorized skateboards may not be ridden in our communities. This prohibition directly affects manufacturers that build this product here, and they want that their buyers to be able to legally ride them here as well. The existing prohibition was established in 1971 when motorized skateboards were gas-powered, they were noisy, they were pollutants. Since that time, technology has developed dramatically. These boards are clean, they produce zero emissions, they're safe, they're silent, they include brakes. So I would respectfully ask for your aye vote and happy to answer any questions.
Great. Witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
We're neutral on this bill and note that there would be no state-level fiscal impact.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? So I'm going to make a comment. I was on transportation, and I understand that there was an amendment that was asked for from the committee chair. Although this is a policy committee, it's a fiscal committee, and I want to make sure that you understand that there might be opposition on the floor, and that I would suggest that you consider an amendment and when it comes to the age limit, but it's not something that I'm going to withhold my support today. On the floor, I'll consider what kind of amendments you put in, and like I always say, every member reserves the right to vote on the floor as they wish. So I greatly appreciate your work on this bill, and I hope to take a ride on one of these electric skateboards one day. Thank you so much.
Certainly. Come by my office anytime and you can take a ride.
Thank you.
Down the hallway.
Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Bloom.
Just want to make sure the rest of the members get a warning when that's happening.
Good point. We have a motion from Ms. Chang, a second by Mr. Quirk. This is a due pass, and it's out on an A roll call. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Melendez, you're up. You have one bill on consent and one with a due pass recommendation.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I'm presenting AB 545 this morning. This will close.
Move second.
We have
Should
a motion.
I just ask for an aye vote?
Yes, you should.
That would be courteous.
I'll ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. You have witnesses in support, individuals from the public in support.
I don't think the
Witnesses in
are here
opposition, individuals from the public in opposition, Department of Finance.
Yes, we note that any local government costs resulting from the mandate in this measure would not be state reimbursable because the mandate only involves the definition of a crime or the penalty for conviction of a crime. However, this could impose new costs and workload on counties, which could create additional fiscal pressures at the local level.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, we have a motion from Bigelow, a second by Quirk. This is a due pass on an A roll call. Thank you so much. Mr. Allen, right on time. You have one bill on suspense and one bill due pass recommendation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and committee members. As you noted, I would like to waive presentation of AB 192, which is candidate for suspense. And my presentation on 232 I will keep very brief. I know you have a number of things to get through today. Very simply, thank you very much. This will ensure that we provide the public with the appropriate open review and sunshine on these lease agreements while not inhibiting the state's ability to lease our parks for mutually beneficial operations. Bill has minimal costs, actually pretty much no cost, and minimal cost at most. And thank you very much. With that, I ask for your aye vote.
You just lost Bigelow on the bill. Just kidding. Any witnesses in support? Witnesses from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
No file. Question or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, we have a motion from Bigelow, a second by Quirk. Due pass recommendation. Bill's out on a day. Roll call. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.